SHL fans, we have something special for you today. Growing Up Stastny. John is going to be interviewing Tomas. All right.
Hello, my name is John Schachnovsky. I'm the president of the Siam Hockey League, and I am really happy today to be here to interview one of our newer players in the SHL this year, Tomas Stastny. Before I get to the interview, I want to explain to you how we got here, why we're doing this, and explain to you, because I know I've known Tomas a few months now, and we've had a couple of drinks together, had dinner together. I know one thing, he's a very humble person, so he's not a bragger. So let me brag for him a little bit, and let you all know that for those of you who follow the SHL and watch hockey outside the SHL for many years, you'll know that there are lots of families, hockey families. You have the Sutter brothers, 6 brothers who played hockey. For more recent times, the Kachucks, and you have the Stalls with many brothers playing in the NHL. But the first family of hockey, really, for years and years, was the Stastny family. Thomas's dad, Anton, and his uncles and cousins currently playing in the NHL. You have players playing now, and you have so many players. We'll go into this, but really, Tomas comes from the true hockey family with so many people playing, and I'm excited to discuss that. Very selfishly, as a Washington Capitals fan, when I was a young kid, 11 years old, 1982, I went to the old Landover, Maryland Capitol Center and watched the Washington Capitals play versus the Quebec Nordiques, where his father played and his uncles played. It's exciting for me, exciting for the SHL. Once again, those that follow the SHL know we have a relationship with Johnny Oduya, which we're so proud of. He came and played a few games for us and sponsors our MVP trophy and our scholarship. But we never had a true full-time player with the background that Tomas has. So really excited, really happy to have him. And Tomas, welcome to the SHL interview. Welcome to this talk today. I'm happy to have you.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here too. The first thing I did when I knew I was coming to Bangkok for work is type ice hockey rink, or actually hockey Bangkok. And that's kind of how I found the SHL. And, I've been playing for a long time. I played till I was 33, and then I didn't play the last 4 years. And I know when you don't know anybody, hockey is the best way to meet people and to get to know people, especially if you come in a country you've never been to before. Yeah. So really happy I found the SHL, very happy the SHL exists. And yeah.
That's what I tell you. You found SHL, you found hockey in Thailand, like almost all of us did. We all moved here and we all typed in ice hockey, and some of us were shocked to see there was results that actually said there's hockey here, and we're really happy you did that. And we'll get into your playing here and that in a little bit. I want to just go back and I want to discuss with you, obviously your family, obviously you growing up, but first of all, let's begin from scratch. Where were you born?
I was born in Quebec, 1982. Where my dad was playing. They have been there with my uncle for 2 years then, I guess. So I'm basically Canadian. Actually, I was Canadian before I was even Slovak or Swiss now, because actually my parents, or my dad and my uncles, they defected, Czechoslovakia at the time. So my parents didn't have any citizenship for 3 years before they got their Canadian one. So actually I was even Canadian before my dad.
So they defected from Czechoslovakia to Canada?
Yeah.
And they were there without citizenship, and then eventually they got their citizenship, but you were born there before they got their citizenship. Yeah. So because you were born there, you had citizenship. So that's very, very funny. So that story, have they ever told you that whole story about defection? How'd that happen?
It's funny enough. We had some kind of bits, but then there was this book. The journalist in Quebec wrote this book on the whole story of the defection, and actually I read the book and I learned a lot by reading the book. As I said, I knew some bits, but yeah, the book is very interesting to read. I think it's well written. It's like a journalistic book, but it's also kind of a story book. So yeah, you get a lot of details, interesting details in the book of how it happened, and yeah, it's like
Would you any interesting tidbits you picked up, or do you remember you could share with us that you remember?
I know that they left. They didn't show up. I mean, they were in I think if I recall, in Innsbruck for a hockey tournament. It was the national teams, and after the game, they didn't show up at the bus. So everybody was starting looking for them. We had the secret police and whatever was looking for them. And for somehow they split, my dad and my uncle. There was just Peter and Anton at that time, and they split, and they had to go. So people from Quebec flew in to help them get out, and they split, and they couldn't find each other. And at some point they said to Peter, we have to go now, and Anton's gonna figure it out. So they left, and they're driving in the night, and there was this guy walking on the side of the street, and Peter said, "Oh, that's Anton."
Oh my goodness.
In the night, and he recognized him by the way he was walking.
Oh my goodness.
So they stopped and picked him up and then left to Vienna. Yeah.
Oh, they went there to Vienna. And
then they were stuck in a hotel waiting for the visa, whatever they needed. It was pretty intense. I think I wasn't there, but
right.
The way the story's told, it was pretty intense because apparently the whole Secret Service was looking for them.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the stories you hear about those days. Is the secret police is immediately, and these guys, your dad and uncles are heroes of the country. So these guys are deciding to leave, or
I don't know if they're heroes, but
well, hockey's a big sport there, and they're superstars. So that's pretty.
Well, also what I think is that in the press nobody talked about it in the newspaper. They want to know that people defected.
Correct.
It was all silenced. So
Right.
you see how it worked at the time there. Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. Hey, at what point in so you were born in 1982. You're born in Quebec. Your dad, your uncles are playing for the Nordiques. At what point did you realize that your dad and uncles were who they were? They're NHL players, and they're famous, and they're hockey players, and they're in Quebec, hockey's life.
Well, honestly, I didn't get time to really pick on that because I was 7 years old when we moved to Switzerland. So yeah, as a kid, you don't really realize it, I guess.
Do you? I mean, when you were 5, 6, 7, were you going down to the locker room? Were you going into the arena? Were you doing those kind of things, or were you?
Well, we did. We would. I mean, we did go to the game. We did go in the locker room and stuff. I don't recall much of it.
Right.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
All I recall is the Christmas parties at the Colisée, all the families and kids skating and having animations and stuff. That was cool. But again, I don't recall much.
Okay. So when did they leave Quebec? You said you were 7, and what happened next with the family?
So my dad moved to Switzerland to play hockey. Actually, his contract in Quebec ended, and well, he had opportunities in other cities, but not cities he wanted to play for. So, and actually one thing he said when he was younger, he had a junior tournament in Switzerland, and he said, one day I'm going to live in Switzerland. So, well, he took a contract, he found a team in Switzerland, and lucky enough, he looked for a team in the French part. It's Quebec, French part, so we're speaking French. So he actually looked for a team in the French part so we could go to school in a French school. So it was pretty cool. So he played 3 years in Switzerland, and then he decided to retire and stay there.
Where's he now?
In Switzerland.
Okay, there now.
Yeah.
Still there now. Okay,
Still
good.
there now, yeah.
And how about your uncles? Where are they now?
One is still in Quebec, so Marianne is still in Quebec. He owns a golf club there, so yeah, he's got a golf in Quebec. Unfortunately, he's a bit sick. He's got Parkinson,
Okay.
but yeah, we try to help him as much as we can. And my uncle Peter, he's traveling between Bratislava and St. Louis.
Okay.
That's where they had their last home.
Okay. Interesting. So you're 7 years old when you move. Before 7, were you playing hockey?
Nope.
Not at all.
I started actually for playing soccer.
Okay.
My parents, I never asked why or what. I guess we were playing a bit soccer in the backyard, just summertime. I guess winter was kind of hard with 2 meter snow to play soccer, but we played in the summer, the ball, just having fun. And I don't know, for some reason, I never asked why they put out a soccer first. Maybe because they had time in the summer.
Right.
So
right.
I have no idea. I know I started playing soccer with one of my cousin, Jan, and that's all I kind of recall. Then we moved to Switzerland, and that's where I actually started playing hockey in Switzerland.
Did your dad or anybody push you to hockey, or was it because it's big in Switzerland?
No. I guess I asked for it, most likely. I don't know. In Switzerland, when I came, I played soccer for 2 years and hockey at the same time. I played both, and then I guess at some point I had to choose between one or the other because it was taking time. So yeah, I chose hockey.
So you chose hockey.
But
What
honestly,
age was that when you started to kind of picked one?
10,
Okay.
9, 10, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I choose hockey. Let's be honest, I most likely choose hockey because my dad was playing hockey.
Yeah.
It's like the easy move. And I know, actually my mom told me that I don't really recall it, but when my dad retired, I just said, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
He's retiring. Am I going to keep playing hockey?
Right.
Well, yeah.
Interesting.
That was a comment. I know I had it. I know. My mom told me I had at some point. So yeah.
So what was your youth team? What was your first team you kind of played for?
It's called Fribourg. That's where my dad was playing, Fribourg-Gotteron. Yeah, it was my youth team. I started there as around 7, 8 years old, I guess. Yeah, so not that early, not late either, but yeah, that's where I started.
Do you remember that time, or you was too?
Yeah, that I remember.
Do you remember? Do you remember if there was this is Stastny's kid?
Again, I guess a bit. Like
Okay.
the guys knew because my dad was playing on the main team,
Right.
so like the pro team. So I guess kids knew who I was. But I don't. Yeah, I don't feel I had this this difference of treatment or whatever. It's sort of like,
Were there other kids from the kids from the dads playing who were with you, or were you the only kid? Or was
no, at that time I was the only one.
Okay.
That I recall, actually, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think I was the only one. Yeah. I mean, my dad. They got me pretty young, so I guess my dad, when he played in Fribourg, he was like 30 years old. So, and I was 8 already. So my parents, they got me. They were 22, 23. So yeah, it was pretty young. So maybe that's why I was the only kid.
So your citizenship now. What are your citizenships that you have now?
I'm Swiss. I've been Swiss for like now 2 years.
Okay.
Or 1 year and a half, something. I'm Slovak and I'm Canadian.
Wow, 3.
Yeah, the 3. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Maybe tie someday too. So that's your first squad. What happened after that? Take me through your career. So you began with that first team. What happened next?
Then we played in Fribourg. Then we actually eventually moved back to Quebec for
Okay.
1 year. 1 year. My dad was working. I mean, Quebec had a project for the Olympics 2002 at the time. I think it was 2002. So the city didn't get the
bid, right?
They didn't get the Olympics. So decided what we're going to do. So after living 3 years in Quebec, in Switzerland, and before 10 years in Quebec, they realized they preferred Switzerland.
Okay.
So moved back to Switzerland, and then I started playing from Lausanne. For Lausanne, it's the team I grew up most with. Played there all my juniors until my second to last junior year. After I graduated from high school, my dad said, "Well, do you want to go play in Canada?" So I played in the BCHL for 1 year, or like 1 year. No,
That's in British Columbia. Huh?
yeah, like the junior AAA British Columbia.
And that was with
Langley.
Langley, yeah.
Langley
Okay.
Hornets at the time. Well, it didn't go that well, to be honest. I got cut down to the farm team and then went play in the East Coast in the U.S. For a team called Valley Warriors.
Okay.
It was in the... I can't recall the name of the league. It was like 5 or 6 letters. EGPHL, something like that. I'm not sure about it, but well, I played. It didn't go well either. I guess I wasn't ready to be away from home at that time. I was 18.
That's a
I wasn't.
college,
Yeah. So, but I learned a lot, I guess, over that year. Then I came back to Switzerland, played one more junior year, and then made it to the main team the following year. So we're supposed to start like as a 14th forward, and like comes like opening night, home playing Bern. Bern was like the top team.
They still are, aren't they? They're pretty good now. They're
Like
pretty
this,
good.
they're last.
Geneva.
I think they're last this year.
Okay, but Geneva burns some good squads, right?
Yeah, no, they're good. I mean, it's interesting to see how Bern is. Like, I haven't really followed, but I read an article that apparently they're last in the league today, which is interesting because there's like, it's the biggest like budget in Switzerland, and they have like a rink. It's like 16,000 people, which I think is the biggest rink in Europe, and it's like packed every game. So they have money. So money gets you the good players.
It does.
So yeah, so opening night it was 2002. Wasn't supposed to play. Well, got in the morning like 4 or 5 injuries. So, well, you can only play in the fourth line. So I got to play in the opening night my first year at home. And if I recall correctly, we won in overtime, so it was pretty special.
Nice. Oh, that's great.
Well, we finished last that year in the league, but
Hey,
we won the first game.
You played, and you got this is your, kind of your breakout
Yeah.
season kind of thing.
Yeah,
So that's good.
and the little story I have here is, so there was like before the end of the third period, before it goes to overtime, a guy gets kicked out on our team, gets like 2+10 or gets kicked out of the game for some reason. So coach sends me to the box, take the penalty, and then there's like the little pause between the third and overtime, and coach says like, "Who's in the box?" I'm like, "Me." He says, "Fuck." I'm like, "Well, you send me there, like to take the other guy's spot." So I
Right.
said, "Well, skate right back." As soon as it's over, skate right back. Okay, I'll do whatever.
That's good respect. That's good. That's good. That's good. I like that. That's pretty good. So, looking at your career, I'm sure, I find myself to be a pretty decent hockey fan. There's the Swiss Division 1, there's Swiss Division 2, there's the NLA, NLB.
So,
can you explain to us what the difference between all those leagues are in Switzerland?
Yeah, well, when I was playing, because now they changed the name, I'm not sure about the names now,
Right.
but before it was NLA, was like the top league, and then it was NLB, then first league, second league, third league,
Okay.
fourth league, and I think it stops at fourth.
Right.
So that was now they changed. The NLA is now called National League,
Okay.
and the NLB is called Swiss League. That's how they call it today.
So your career, you saw some time in NLA, NLB.
I played 1 year in the NLA with Lausanne, like 26 games,
Yeah.
0 goals, 0 assists, 2 minutes of penalty. It's probably that's why it ended there, but.
But I love the hockey player in you because you knew your stat line immediately. You knew your stat. You know your stats
I mean,
every year, of
it's
course.
like, not every year. If I go to my NLB stat, I'm not 100% sure. I kind of knew. I think I played 45 games and probably 2 goals and 5 assists. I guess maybe.
Do you know what your best year was in Swiss hockey? I do.
Oh,
I
in
did
the
research.
I'm probably in the second league. When I was playing second league,
Second league for the what's the team called?
for La Morge.
Yep, and you had a year where you had 18 games played, 19 goals, 34 assists, 53 points. That's a good season.
Yeah.
2010, 2011. That's a good season.
Yeah.
That's a
No,
good
I
season.
recall. I mean, we won the championship that year with the team. Well, we were 5 players playing in the first league, going down to that team because we're all the same age basically. Like grew up together, and we all went down to that team to like we're working. It's not the pro league, so we're working on the side. So first league is like really demanding. It's like at the time was 3 to 5 times a week between practices and games, and the second league was two practices, 1 game. So it was a bit like lighter. So. And we were a bunch of friends, so we decided to go there. And the team wanted to go up every year for the past 3 years.
Okay.
And they always lost in the finals, kind of. So went back there. And yeah, I mean, the top 5 scorers of the league were us.
Oh,
I mean, the
okay,
same team.
okay.
It was my brother, me, another guy that played longer than me in the NLB, and another guy that played, he was a good guy in the first league, like piling up points too. So like, I think yeah, the four first scorer in that league was like us, the team.
In your time playing, I mean, look, you can't be a Stahl, you can't be a Hull, you can't be a Kachuk without having the name out there. Throughout your career, the name Stastny, did you notice any difference? Did you, looking back now even more, do you notice anything about the fact that you are a Stastny? Were you treated differently? Were other teams keying on you because, well, you're Stastny? I mean, the name is, look, as a fan of hockey for my entire life, there are names that stick out, and I don't think there are names. I mean, the Hulls and the Stalls. Stastny's number 1. Was there anything that you remember? I mean, do you remember it? Do you remember looking back at any situations where?
There's a lot.
Yeah, but give us a couple. I'm just curious.
Well, when I was playing the BCHL, I was Canadian, and I mean to play the BCHL at the time you had to be Canadian. They were not allowed any foreigners. I don't know if it changed today, but at the time, so because I was Canadian, I was allowed to play. But like people, I mean, I was playing the other team. I was called the Euro guy. Because a Euro. Well, nobody's calling by my name, so I don't know if it was related. Then what else? Well, when I played for Lausanne at some point, like some people, I guess, I don't know if it's for some reason they were saying, "Oh, you're playing there because you're Stastny." Let's be honest, I'm not the most skilled guy. Like but
I disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, at each level, I mean, I'm not the most skilled guys
Yeah.
to play in the NLA, definitely. But I think I was good at what I was asked to do. Basically, was give some energy, hit, and don't get scored against.
Right.
You know, so I think I was doing that pretty good. So that's why I played. You know, I like to call myself a good soldier. So if people tell me to do something, I do it.
And throughout your career, from even in Canada back to Switzerland, did you have a lot of? I mean, obviously your dad, but were you talking to your uncles or your cousins about hockey? Were you tracking their careers? I mean, Paul now is playing. I mean, are you following each other?
Well, I guess internet evolved. It helped, you know. When I was playing in the early 2000, internet was not what it was today. So yeah, we were always a bit in contact, but not that much. I think I was more following them than they were following me, probably because they were playing at a more interesting level.
Well, now in the SHL, they're all following you, of course, but yeah.
I should ask.
You should ask.
No, but yeah, no, I'm following definitely. I mean, Jan, I'm closer to Jan. He's in the same age as I am, and he played in Europe a lot. He played in Germany, Russia, Finland, Czech Republic, Finland, and maybe Sweden. I'm not 100% sure. At some point, I was trying to get him to come to Switzerland, like trying to get some contacts. Didn't work out, but well, I visited him in Moscow, visited him in Nuremberg. He was playing there. I was always trying, and he was playing during the lockout. He was in 2005. He was playing in Germany at the time, and he made it to the World Championship with the Team USA.
Oh wow!
So we drove. My brother and one of my best friend. We drove like to Innsbruck. I think it was in Innsbruck, just up and down in one day to see him play there.
Oh wow!
So that was cool because it was a lockout, so there was a lot of good players.
Guys,
and I went to the USA Canada game, and after the game said, "Hey guys, want to come? Like we have dinner at the hotel. You want to come?" So get dinners with all these NHL guys, having
so cool.
like food, and actually got to meet John Tortorella.
Oh, the Torts! Wow, look at that! Oh
nice.
wow, that's pretty cool.
Was a bit like impressive, you know, being there, like just all these guys playing, like all this, like lockout. So I can't recall who I met there, but
hey, Torts is a good one. That's a good person to know, good person to meet. So looking at your career, you were Swiss leagues, Swiss teams. Was there ever a time that you did the 1 year in BC when you were very young, but you played 10 years after that, at least. Was there ever a time that you looked to branch out? Hey, let me look to Germany. Let me look somewhere else. Did you want to try and go somewhere else? Were you were happy in Switzerland? You were happy near the family? What was your situation there?
I played like pro for 2 years. Then I tried out for a team. Actually, Morges. Morges was they made it up to the Swiss League, NLB. So I tried out for them the year they went up. And, didn't work. I mean, I was offered a contract like as a 15 forward. I was like, no way, I'm not going to play 15 forward. You know?
Right. So to move for that wouldn't be worth it, right?
Yeah. So then I decided, I'm 22, 23 at the time, so let's go back to college and play for. Was a tough decision, because you put a cross on what kind of your dream was growing up playing pro hockey. So, I had my shot. I can say I'm happy enough I get my shot, because not everybody gets a chance, especially in Lausanne. It's a hard place to get a chance as a junior. They were not giving much chances to young people, but that's another story. So I decided to go back to college and then just played for fun. Yeah, I had fun. It was like I was playing the top Swiss amateur league, which was still a good level, and played there for almost 10 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and at some point, Switzerland, I don't know, I guess probably everywhere it's like that, but my dad told me one thing, which makes sense everywhere you are, I guess. It's if you're good, a good player, if you're better than the others, team's going to come for you, you know. If you're an average player, which I was, you need to have a good agent. My dad was my agent.
I hope he watches this. I can't wait for him.
No, but again, it makes sense. I was just an average. I could have, played maybe another X years playing an average third line, fourth line, and just, And in Switzerland, it doesn't pay much. So I guess at some point you need to be smart enough and look further. Where I'm going to be when I'm going to 35,
Right.
Because I know some guys, they've been playing for a while, and then they stop, and well, what now?
It's a little late to build a career.
I think it's never too late to do something, I guess, but it's maybe not as easy.
Not as easy. So when you said before you were one of the teams you were on, the players also worked. What did you do for work when you were doing that?
I was an internal auditor for a bank in Switzerland.
Okay.
Not the most fancy job, I gotta admit.
Hey, it's use your brain though. When you started saying, you could give a lot of answers to that. It's a pretty good one. That's a pretty brainy answer.
I played. I worked for 12 years in the same bank. Did 3 jobs though. I did internal audit, project management, and my last job, which kind of for 5 years, which got me here, I was actually a fraud investigator.
Oh.
So that's what got me here. I got hired here to do consulting and fraud investigation for a Thai bank.
Okay. Before we go to where you are now, I want to go to that in a second, but I do want to ask, people are going to be curious, and I have been for a long time. Not a long time in Canada you played, but you saw your dad and uncles play, and you played Swiss. What do you think the biggest difference is between Swiss hockey, Canadian hockey, American hockey? You played a long career of Swiss hockey. You've probably watched more than you played in other countries, but can you give an example? What's different about Swiss hockey? If I went to go play Switzerland now, what would I have to learn because it's different than everywhere else? Is there anything that's different?
I mean, it's the thing that all people know. It's being said is like the size of the rink. Definitely, like Canadian rinks are smaller. I remember playing in Vernon, BC, and like you couldn't even cross behind the goal. It was so small. It was maybe like I don't know that wide behind the net. It was crazy. Really smaller rinks, and I guess because it's small, it's tougher.
Right.
More contact.
More contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then in Europe, it's more speedy, I guess. And I mean, on the way I play, I think I'm more adapted to North American rinks because I'm a bad skater. I mean, I'm a bad skater. Again, if you put everything, I'm not a good skater. I've never been a good skater. So playing on a smaller rink kind of helps me.
And you have some size to you. You probably use your body more than other
also,
Swiss play.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move forward to your career. You've decided I'm not going to play professional much more. I'm going to go amateur, play for college. Where'd you go to college?
In Switzerland.
What school was it?
It's called Université de Lausanne. It's the city I grew up.
Okay.
I got all the easy bits. It was close enough. It was like 10-15 minute drives from my parents' place, so didn't need to move out. I tried to get a scholarship, like an exchange, student exchange in McGill in Montreal. Didn't work out because I wasn't good enough at school, I guess. That's the way it is.
Join the club.
But yeah, I did my college in Switzerland.
Okay. And then, so your first job after college was what? What was your first job? Was the bank?
Yeah, internal
okay.
audit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that got you. So take us. How many years ago was this we're talking about? What year was
12.
this? Okay.
I started working in 2008. Yeah,
So from 2008 until 2019, 20, you were living in Switzerland, working at the bank.
Yeah.
And then what got you here? What got you to Thailand?
Well, I got a headhunter call me some morning, a January morning, cold January morning. It was a little breeze outside. Okay, I don't think I would there. And yeah, calls me and says, well, no, not even calls me. Actually, sends me a LinkedIn. Like, well, I have this job. Are you interested? Basically, I looked at it. I said, well, why not? Like, let's have a look at it. And yeah, so I got the interviews. It was pretty quick. Got 2 interviews. Was like one was on the phone was the manager here, and one in Switzerland was the managers there. Yeah, and I think it's one of the toughest decisions I had to take in my life, because I was leaving a job I liked, a place I liked. I didn't want to leave. I like my boss. I love my boss, my former boss. He was like an amazing guy. I learned a lot with him, and I still had a lot to learn from him at that point. But yeah, it's getting out of your comfort zone, I guess, and trying something new in another country. Yeah.
Had you been to Asia before?
Yeah, I've been twice in Thailand before.
Oh, you've been here before?
Yeah,
Okay,
twice on vacation, like 2-week vacation.
Okay.
In 2013 and 15 and 18.
It's pretty recent.
Yeah, pretty recent. Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of knew a bit what to expect, but as people say, it's living in a place and going on vacation is not the same.
Absolutely.
But well, I still feel like I'm on vacation anyways.
I've been here 12 years, so am I. So your adjustment here has been okay.
Yeah.
How is it here? What are your thoughts about Thailand now? I mean, obviously we are talking now with our masks over there, but we're during COVID and we're, lots of issues in the world. But taking that aside, what are your thoughts? You happy here? You happy with the move so far?
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking about COVID. I mean, people say, oh, how can you do 2 weeks quarantine? It's like a pain, like being stuck in a hotel room for 2 weeks. How could you do that? Well, it was worth it. Because when you arrived here, like when I arrived actually in September, everything was open. There was no restriction. Okay, people wearing masks and getting your temperature in the malls and stuff. That's not a big deal compared to what's happening in Europe. So yeah, it was definitely worse, the 2 weeks quarantine, to get like some kind of freedom actually. Well, now it's a bit different because it's closing down a bit again, but it's not that bad. And what's cool here is that kind of people respect the measures, so I think it's going to help to get better sooner.
Yeah, I agree. It's good that you mentioned that. I agree with you totally. So you said before when the interview first started, you discussed how you just kind of Googled ice hockey in Thailand, and the SHL popped up. I mean, did you watch videos of the SHL? We have pretty decent for a pretty small amateur league. We have decent videos. We have different. Did you watch them? What did you think when you first saw the SHL?
I found the website, and yeah, I looked at it. I had no idea what it would look like, of course. I mean, video doesn't reflect actually the real stuff, I guess. But I liked, actually, I was surprised by the quality of the video, the footage for like an amateur league. And the rink, well, we changed rink, of course. But that rink looked amazing too. I mean, from the videos. So I thought, well, that's actually a good place. And well, when I was searching for a place here, I was looking, okay, where's the rink? Where should I live? So it's easy to get to the rink, like kind of that stuff, like work, rink. That's okay.
So I can say that the funny thing for us, and I'd like to hear your comment on this, is that so we didn't know you, and we knew you were coming, and we knew who you were. And at some point in I think it was during your quarantine, you on Facebook or Twitter, you were working out, and you put like SHL, here I come. Is that right?
Yeah, I did get ready. I mean, I'm not the funniest guy in the world, but trying to make funny. If you see my Instagram, it says like, I make myself laugh, and it's good enough.
Yeah, but it was great. I mean, we were so happy. We were sitting there. I think one of the other heads of the league told me, he said, this guy coming, we're so excited. And not only, we were already excited because we knew your background, your name really, and we checked your hockey DB. We knew you had good experience. But then to see how excited you were, and how, joking or not joking, we were excited to see that you were working out and saying, I'm getting ready for, whatever you're doing, dumbbell, whatever, squats, or you're doing bicep curls, whatever you were doing. It was pretty cool for you to see that. So we were really happy to see that. So the big question, of course, as the president of the SHL, what do you think about the SHL so far?
It's a great place to play hockey. I mean, it's a great setup. It's a great bunch of people. I mean, it's like being a draft team. I think it was interesting. It's the first time I do that, but I think it makes the league interesting. Like kind of balances the stuff. And then I guess people that played together the year before, they play against, and it's a good mix. So it's like competitive, but at the same time it's friendly. Like people talk after game, before the game, and there's no play for fun.
Right.
Even though I think sometimes some people, they think it's like the NHL, but as we like to say, well, as one of my good friends used to say, like we all have our own NHL.
Right. No, we definitely have a good mix here for sure. And for those that don't follow the SHL, Tomas is on the first place team, and he's I think you're third in scoring, which is with some decent players. The top two guys are on your line. I think there's a defenseman. Ken's number 1, Mike Friesen, the captain's number 2, and I think you're number 3 in scoring, which is not a surprise at all. But we're happy to have you. So, what do you have a contract here? Is there a certain number of years you're going to be here? How does that work?
That's a big question mark. The company, we have I work for a consulting company, and we have a contract with the bank here that ends end of April. The project is late, not our fault. But the project's a bit late, so it may be extended, but well, I don't know. All I know is I told myself I'm going to be here at least a year, and if, let's say, I arrived in September, so I want to stay at least until September, and they'll figure out what's the next move going to be.
Okay.
So, well, I'm I'm single, no kids, no family. I mean, I got family, but so I got the freedom to do basically or be basically wherever I want if I can figure it out.
So right now with COVID and hockey, our SHL being shut down, other interests? What are you doing to keep yourself busy right now other than working?
Working out in the garden.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry, it's not shut down. It's just on hold, right?
Correct. Shut down. It's on hold. With the SHL on hold, like a lot of leagues in the world are on hold. What are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Well, working on the weekdays, so that keeps me busy. And weekends, actually, last weekend I discovered a new sport. It's not a new sport, but it's new for me, wakeboarding.
Oh, wow.
So I went wakeboarding and did my first wakeboarding experience last weekend. It was pretty cool. And actually, once this is done, I'm going back wakeboarding this weekend again.
Great. That's good. That's good. You find the people who are true athletes, when one door closes, they open other doors. It happens. I mean, I've followed a lot of the guys in our league, and a lot of guys are picking up tennis and different sports. So it's interesting. It's good to see people picking it up as we're hoping to open up pretty soon.
Yeah, well, funny you say. When I retired from hockey, when I stopped playing, actually got into CrossFit. And was one of my good friends, Switzerland. We opened a CrossFit gym in Lausanne. So I ran a CrossFit gym for 3 years.
Oh, so there you go. It's like I say, those athletes can never be stopped. So another selfish question as the president of the SHL: does anybody from your dad? Do they know you're playing out here? Do people know you're playing?
Yeah, they know.
Okay.
They know.
Have they watched any of the games?
I think I sent them the link. But,
Okay.
My parents.
We'll just say yes then.
They're not on Facebook, so.
Okay.
But I got some screenshots and sent it
good.
to them. So send
Very
pictures. So they're happy,
Very good.
yeah.
It's good to hear. The Stastnys are watching us play. Hey, look,
No, but I mean, my cousin, he signed for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes.
And so I sent him a picture of my jersey and say, hey, same.
Ah.
Playing for the Spitfires.
Did he respond?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good.
Well,
That's
we're
good.
also on YouTube, just so you know.
So, as far as your family, current players, other than Paul, is he the one guy still playing professional? Anybody else?
He's the only one playing professionally. Okay. And my other cousin Jan retired 2 years ago.
Where did he finish his career?
He was in Germany, I think.
Okay.
He finished in Germany. In Germany, then he was actually a scout for Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. Oh,
for
wow.
2 years, and until COVID came in and got out of job because college hockey wasn't playing anymore.
There you go.
So yeah.
Absolutely. So Paul's in Winnipeg. Is he happy in Winnipeg as far as you know?
Yeah, I was happy to go back there because he's been there. I haven't really talked about the business side of the thing. It's always a business side.
Sure.
So, but yeah, he's happy to be back there. He liked the team. He liked the environment. So
Great.
And I think again, I don't want to. It's a thing. I think he played with Blake Wheeler in Munich during the lockdown.
Okay.
So I think I'm not 100% sure, but
he may have a connection with.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Or at least on the U.S. team, maybe, or
Gotcha.
something. So
Yeah,
he
some kind of
so,
connection is
yeah.
good. Hey, look, this is Thomas. I want to thank you so much for this. I think we covered lots of topics, and we got your life, your career, Thailand, and I really appreciate it. We may bother you again to dig a little deeper into some more stuff that as we move along. I think we're gonna have lots of good feedback from folks that didn't know you. I think that there's a lot of discussion about when you came to the league, about who you were, and I think a lot of people wanted to know your background, maybe too embarrassed, too scared, too worried, didn't want to bother you. So we really appreciate it. I think a lot of people are interested to see your background, and we, as a president of the league and as a fan of hockey and a fan of your dad and your uncles, and your play actually in the SHL now, as you beat me in faceless every 2 minutes. I really appreciate you coming, and thank you so much for attending. Hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to discuss and promote hockey in Thailand. I mean, it's great. It's great that you have hockey in such a country. I mean, so if you can promote it and get new people on board, I mean, that's great, especially on the kids side. Yeah.
And now, those of you watching now, and you haven't come out and watched at Sam Rong Rink, and you can see former professional hockey player play, come out and watch. There you go.
The opposite was very strong. I was good.
Siam Hockey League News is brought to you by Big Chili Magazine, the best read expat lifestyle and news magazine in Thailand. It covers interesting issues in Bangkok and the region while bringing its readers engaging stories and various exclusive interviews, food reviews, and more. You can find the Big Chili Magazine in bookstores and online at thebigchili.com. The music for the opening and ending credits are brought to you by DJ Caucasian.